On January 28, the Russian aerospace forces lost two Su-30 and Su-34 fighter jets at once, the first due to a technical malfunction even without the help of the Ukrainian armed forces. This was reported by the publication NV, citing a statement by the head of the Central Intelligence Agency, Lieutenant Andrei Kovalenko. According to him, one of the Su-30 aircraft was probably shot down by the anti-aircraft missile complex Patriot. Later, the aviation analytics account Avivector on the social network X reported that the Su-34 crashed due to a malfunction at around 3:30 p.m. in the Kursk region. It had arrived there to carry out a combat mission from its base in the Saratov region. Ascent analysts claim the Su-30 was shot down by the Ukrainian armed forces in the Black Sea. While Ukraine awaits confirmation from the General Staff, Russian Z-bloggers are complaining about the loss of pilots, with both crews killed. Petro Andriashenko, head of the Center for the Study of the Occupation of Ukraine, also reported that the Russians had preliminarily lost two aircraft on January 28, a Su-34 and a Su-30. According to Telegram channels, the Russian armed forces may have lost the second fighter in the Kursk region. The Su-34 is one of the main aircraft used by Russian occupiers to deliver guided bombs during strikes on Ukrainian territory. The loss of the Su-34 comes amid a sharp increase in the intensity of airstrikes in Ukraine. In October 2025, the enemy significantly increased its use of guided bombs. Over the course of the month, the occupiers dropped more than 5,328 guided bombs on Ukrainian Defense Forces positions and frontline cities. Russia is constantly losing aircraft in the war in Ukraine. The SBU's Alpha Special Forces unit alone destroyed 11 combat aircraft, 3 helicopters, and an An-26 transport aircraft in 2025. Over the past year, the Security Service of Ukraine's Alpha Special Forces unit conducted a series of successful operations using long-range drones. The attacks resulted in the destruction of 5 Russian military airfields. Tankers carrying Russian oil continue to navigate European waters. If a vessel belonging to the Shadow Fleet is stopped, it should not be released. In this case, the military intelligence of Ukraine exposed 66 ships of the Shadow Oil Fleet of Russia, Iran and Venezuela, and also the vessels involved in the theft of Ukrainian grain and the violation of the state cordon of Ukraine. It should be noted that the military intelligence of Ukraine reveals the activities of tankers from the network of the group of companies Samari Shipmanagement Ltd from Cyprus and Samari Navigation FCC from UAE. Since 2023, until now, the tanker fleet of the group of companies Samari Shipmanagement Ltd and Samari Navigation FCC has been providing oil dollars to Russia for the continuation of the war against Ukraine, concealing the registration of companies in the States, members of the European Union. The top manager of this group is Nikolai Spichanok, a citizen of Great Britain, who worked for a long time and continues to work in managerial positions in the largest state-owned shipping company of Russia, PJSC Sovcomflot, as well as in related structures. As a reminder, PJSC Sovcomflot, which is under the sanctions of most countries of the Sanctions Coalition, provides transportation of Russian oil, petroleum products and liquefied gas, cooperating with leading Russian oil and gas companies and traders. Currently, tankers from the orbit of Sovcomflot, including those involved in the transportation of oil and petroleum products from Venezuela, are massively changing their flags to Russian ones, actually confirming their involvement in serving the military and economic interests of the aggressor state. Previously, such shadow fleets sailed under the flags of third countries to avoid sanctions from Western states. This trend directly corresponds to the provisions of the maritime doctrine of the Russian Federation, which provides expansion of the civil fleet under the flag of Russia and its use to ensure national interests in the world ocean, strengthening of mobilization readiness in the maritime sphere, integration of pre-prepared civilian vessels and crews into the armed forces of Russia during wartime. Military intelligence of Ukraine separately urges captains and crews of vessels of the Shadow Fleet to avoid cooperation with Shadow Company's operators of vessels. Troubled operators of the Shadow Fleet are the first to disappear as soon as the vessel comes to the attention of law enforcement agencies, leaving the sailors alone with the legal, financial and humanitarian consequences of the crime.